Have you ever finished a movie, the credits started rolling, and you just stared at the screen not knowing if you understood everything or absolutely nothing? Some movies don't just want to tell a story, they want to provoke, confuse, and leave questions in the air. And the most curious part is that these are exactly the films that end up becoming classics. Today on Top Z, we're talking about endings that still divide opinions, generate endless theories, and keep audiences debating for years. And the more you try to understand them, the stranger everything seems to get. And the last one on this list might be the most extreme example of all. Inception, starting with one of the most debated endings in modern cinema. Throughout the entire film, we're introduced to dreams within dreams, layers of reality, and rules that seem clear until they aren't. When the protagonist finally returns home and spins the top, everything suggests we're about to get a definitive answer. But the movie cuts right before confirmation. The object begins to wobble, and then black screen. That simple cut turned the ending into one of the biggest discussions in film history. Was it reality? Was it another dream? Maybe the true ending is the doubt left in the audience's mind. Donnie Darko. Here the confusion isn't only at the end. It follows the viewer from beginning to end. The story mixes adolescence, destiny, parallel universes, and disturbing visions. When the film ends, many pieces seem to fit together, but many others fall completely apart. Did the protagonist make a conscious choice? Was everything inevitable? The curious part is that every theory feels right until another one contradicts it. It's the kind of ending that sends you straight to the internet looking for explanations, and somehow you leave even more confused than before. The Shining, a horror classic that goes far beyond jump scares. The hotel seems to have a will of its own. The hallways hide symbols, and every visual detail feels loaded with meaning. At the end, the famous photograph raises a question that is never answered. Was the protagonist always part of that place? Reincarnation, possession, or simply madness? Decades after its release, the film continues to generate analysis and documentaries, not because it failed to explain, but because it chose not to. Fight Club. Unlike other confusing endings, here the impact comes from revelation. When the truth appears, the viewer realizes the entire movie was building something between the lines. Small details that went unnoticed suddenly gain new meaning, and the story transforms right before your eyes. It's not just a surprising ending, it's an ending that changes the past of the movie itself. And that's why many people only feel they truly understood it the second time they watch. Blade Runner. In this case, the ending isn't confusing because of the narrative, but because of the philosophy it provokes. The doubt about who is human and who is a machine becomes the center of the experience. Small symbols scattered throughout the film raise theories that never receive official confirmation. The result is an open ending that doesn't deliver answers, only reflections about identity, memory, and existence. And maybe that's exactly why it never ages. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Here, cinema almost becomes a sensory experience. Long silences, abstract images, and symbolism that is hard to put into words. The famous star child observing Earth is one of the most iconic scenes, and also one of the most enigmatic. There is no direct explanation, no narration, no traditional conclusion. It's an ending that doesn't want to be understood rationally, but felt subjectively. For some, pure genius. For others, pure confusion. The Lighthouse, a film that feels like a gradual descent into madness. Isolation, strange dialogue, and symbolic imagery create an increasingly uncomfortable atmosphere. When the ending arrives, there is no clear line between reality and delusion. The viewer has to assemble the meaning alone, and each interpretation completely changes the story's direction. It's the kind of ending that provokes more feelings than answers. Mulholland Drive, closing. Perhaps one of the most extreme examples of fragmented storytelling. Characters transform, events repeat in different ways, and the film seems to fold in on itself. The ending doesn't offer closure. It dismantles everything that seems solid. Dream, reality, metaphor. Each viewer walks away with a different version in their mind. And that is exactly what keeps the film alive in discussions to this day. In the end, these movies show that cinema doesn't always need to deliver all the answers to be memorable. Sometimes doubt is what keeps a story alive, making audiences revisit it, create theories, and debate for years what really happened. If you enjoy movies that challenge logic and leave questions in the air, subscribe to Top Z. Because here, understanding isn't always the most important part. Sometimes the mystery is the best part.